What the fuck? What? Wow, we're starting off strong with this one. Where did that come? Wow. Cool. I wish dogs would just appear in front of me like that all the time. That'd be great. I'd be so much happier. I'd be like, come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it.
Coffee, Smith?
I'm not drinking coffee.
I'm just testing. See, if you were a liar, you might say you were enjoying
Then it just
yourself.
disappears.
Maybe you
And
take
he
a
just
drink from an imaginary
disappears.
cup.
Who are you and why do you
I love that they're watching Family Guy in the background, I think, or it's American Dad. That's super strange. That's super strange. This is gonna be one of those videos that haunts me forever. That's so weird. And I know a lot of things can be done on camera now because of the technology that we have, but it's so hard. Like that's just the, wow, that show. I'm gonna forget the name of the show. Anyway, insert sci-fi show name here. That is what that is.
These two complete strangers stood next to each other utterly randomly, yet both seem to have the exact same legs. It's not just the color and design of the pants, though that certainly helps, but everything about their legs seems to sync up. If you were to only look at the bottom half of this photo, you'd probably think that there had just been a computer error and each half of the photo was identical, and yet the top half of each woman is individual.
I just love the narration sometimes, and I know that's kind of ironic considering that's what I do now for a living, but this would freak me out. Like, I've never actually shown to a party and had the same outfit as someone, which is kind of cool, I guess, being a jeans and t-shirt kind of gal. That should happen more often than it does. Anyway, whatever. That would freak me out. That's super, super cool, but I hope this was a wonderful moment for the two women in this video. I hope they were like, oh my god, girl, I didn't know. I thought I was the only one, as opposed to like, the mean reaction, which is like, you can't wear those pants, I'm wearing those pants. Which happened in middle school all the time, anyways.
There's an argument to be had that it's just pressurized air pushing against the manhole cover, making it bounce around. But that would have to be some seriously pressurized air to push something that heavy up and down. More pressure than a kid in the midst of their SATs. That's how much pressure we're talking. It's so lively, so free. It's almost as if the manhole cover has the mind of a puppy.
It's so lively, so free. Wow, amazing. That's hilarious. I love how he compares that to a kid going through the SATs. That's kind of the cherry on top for me. I kind of believe it. I don't know what happens in gutters. My mind's not in the gutter. I don't know, that could have been an alligator. I hope it wasn't an alligator, but it could have been just a really bad plumbing backup.
Yo. This bird is stuck in midair, bro. This bird is trying to fly, but it's stuck. Oh, shit.
Wow.
The bird got stuck in time. Look, no lie, bro. What the
Dude, the wind must be so strong. That's actually what I blame that on. That's not necessarily a glitch, I think. That's just like, the bird has hit a wind draft that's just so strong that has finally just equated the bird's strength itself. Like, it can't actually fly through it. He's just gotta land and chill out for a minute because there's no way. That poor thing, how tiring would that be? That's like somebody, like, that's like one of those infinity pools, but for birds. Oh, that's loud.
Look at it, for real. Looks like it's just kind of hovering there. It's wild. I almost want to stop on the side of the road so you can see. It's barely moving. It is crazy.
Huh. See, that's not quite like the bird because it looked like the bird was in a storm, but this guy's got clear, beautiful skies. And unless it was some kind of optical illusion of the car kind of circling around the area, which is kind of what it looks like it does. It could be that, but that's really odd. That's so strange. Ugh, I mean, the fact that planes can even fly is a miracle to me. It's a science thing, I know, but it's incredible that they can. Like this massive, like 14-ton things, even larger than that, I'm not actually sure. But that one was weird. What do you guys think?
A dash camera captures something really strange in the middle of the street. While it's raining outside, we see the car positioned vertically, standing on its end. And it's quite bizarre, it's just really strange. Is this car defying gravity? Or is there a reasonable explanation why the car is positioned this way?
I was like, well, it's raining, pouring. There's a dramatic, like I feel like he's about to narrate a film noir and it's about a car balancing on a crash. I wonder, for some miraculous reason, they have something really, really heavy in the back of the car, and when it kind of tilted back, it counteracted the weight of the end. So that's why it's balancing like that. Maybe. Or it's a glitch in the Matrix. I don't know. If all else fails, it's the Matrix.
On a CCTV camera, we see two men that look like complete strangers. Both wipe their face at the same time while in a similar stance.
Одновременно сейчас.
It does make you wonder whether we are all just actually in a massive computer game being run by aliens in space, and they're just having a wonderful time, bringing us slowly into awareness until one day we all realize that this is in fact the Matrix and the movie was right.
The car is driving down a snowy road. It's pretty extreme weather, nice and Christmassy, but otherwise nothing out of the ordinary here. But these glitches seem to come when we least expect them. Slowly but surely the car appears to fade away. Slowly but surely it is consumed by the snowflakes and vanishes into thin air, gone without a trace.
Pretty sure it was still there, right? I'm gonna do that again. Oh yeah, I guess the one on the corner wasn't the car. I thought it was the first time I watched it. I thought it was that one. That's so weird. I mean, driving in the winter in Canada is not fun, and it's the worst when you're like driving and you can't see the road because it's just so snowing so fast. There are some people that just drive on the highway during extreme weather, and they drive like it's a Sunday and it's gorgeous outside, and I have no idea how they do it. And I have a feeling that that gust of snow that just flurried up before the car disappeared was actually the car just going like, you know, they just decided to, Jesus, take the wheel.
A criminal was desperate to race away from the police. His car is bolting down the highway at breakneck speeds. Will he get away? These are exciting scenes, but not exactly abnormal. It's what happens next that will have you doubting your entire concept of reality. Just in the nick of time, his car appears to mysteriously vanish in a puff of black smoke. It's as if Thanos clicked his fingers in the car and its driver turned into dust in an instant. It's any criminal's dream to be able to teleport away from the scene of the crime in a mere instant.
No way that's real. No way. That's really cool though if it is. But there's no way. That's gotta be like a deep fake internet thing. That's just way too cool and way too convenient. I also love the narration. We just talked about it for a second. He's like, it's so romantic, you know?
What the f is happening?
I've seen this video before and I've watched it so many times and I find it so creepy. Just people standing there, it's like somebody press pause, you know? And this goes back to the game theory. Like we're all just some game of Sims, aren't we? That's so freaky. That's so freaky. I hate that. That's like a horror film in the making. Ugh, gross. No, thank you. I know, I said it again. I wanted to say it again.
The fence at the end means no way out. Or does it?
What? What? That's so
Even
crazy.
watching it again,
Wait a minute.
Cops are unable to make sense of it. All they see is an intact fence and nothing more than the vanishing taillights of what the Garden City PD has come to call the ghost car.
That's so... That one was cool. That one was really cool. I don't know how to explain that. Obviously, I don't have all the answers to anything. I don't even have the answers to anything in my own life. But that was pretty cool. Because, okay, so at first I thought, when he turns off, I thought maybe he kind of found an exit and just went around. But then, they literally turn and it's right, that's super weird. That's so cool. That's definitely a glitch in the Matrix. Somebody's playing Grand Theft Auto and it's going real well for them, I guess. Wait. What? What? I don't understand that at all. My brain hurts. Oh God, it hurts. At first I thought it was because it was spinning so fast you saw the 5 separate blades, but they aren't. Usually you see kind of like almost a gray film in between each one if it's going that fast, but it starts to move at 26 seconds in. I don't get that. That's so weird. I'm not gonna be the same person after that. That's really cool. I want someone to slow this video down. So, or speed it up or slow it down as far as you possibly can just to see if there is any movement, and then we can debunk that theory, and then this video is just weird, but I also don't want that to be debunked because then, you know what I mean?
Starting our list off at number 10, Tyson fight glitch. All right, this one takes place in 1995, and it may be a glitch, but it also could be a time traveler. Who knows? Both are always fun. This video is from a Mike Tyson fight, and while Tyson is of course the star, the center of attention in this entire video, there is a person in the audience who has us scratching our heads when we look back and watch. This fight, like I said, takes place in 1995, but when you peek into the audience, it appears as though someone is taking their own video on a cell phone or some sort of smartphone. This gadget that they're holding doesn't look like most cameras from the time and very closely resembles our smartphone cameras from today, with, you know, the lens not being in the center but more off to the side. Imagine having this video on your phone in 1995. Like, hi world star, I'd like to deposit a video. It's gonna get me a lot of views. It's great. It's a really good one. Number 9, the reflection glitch. This video comes from TikTok, of course, and it shows one very confused driver in traffic. Yeah, this is more than fair. This man started filming in a car that was slightly ahead of him in the next lane because he noticed something was off. Again, I wouldn't advise you to pull out your phone and start filming while you're driving, but luckily we got this video. The man is in a convertible and his reflection can be seen in one of his side mirrors. That's very normal. But you can also see that the man is moving his head around in this car, which is normal. But what isn't normal is the fact that his reflection is not moving along with him. So, could be a vampire, could be a shapeshifter, could be a ghost. I have no idea. It's really one of those things that you have to see to believe. Check it out. Number 8, plane glitch. Planes are wild. I have no idea how they work at all. They stay up there somehow, okay. Sometimes they just look like they're floating on the exact same spot and it's so trippy. But this one here, this one is pretty weird. This video comes from Moscow and it shows what looks like a plane completely stuck in mid-air. Like, really stuck. Check it out. Imagine just casually driving down the road and then you saw this just frozen in the sky. I would think so many scary things. I guess the only appropriate response here would be to capture it on video, because how else would you tell a coworker about this? You know what I mean? Without sounding crazy. I'm gonna assume that this is some sort of optical illusion or some sort of wind trick here, but it's just very strange to see a plane that is that close to the ground that isn't either ascending or descending. It's just kind of there. Is it possible that the clear skies made it more difficult to see the movement of the plane? I don't know. Someone help me out in the comments down below because I can't sleep. Number 7, another plane glitch. This video comes from a flight to Edinburgh, which is a flight that I've done many times myself. It's beautiful. A passenger began taking a video of the propeller on the side of the plane when they caught this strange glitch in the Matrix. More than fair. This propeller is of course moving, or else, well, we'd probably know, but it appears as though it is not. How fun is that? It's a fun, scary optical illusion when you're thousands of feet into the air. This is due to the speed of the propeller and the camera's shutter speed, you know, being synchronized, looking a little bit funky. Now we see this often with helicopters, but to see it in a plane that high up from your point of view, that's a bit different. That's a bit more jarring. Number 6, Yanni and Laurel. Remember this Yanni Laurel thing back in 2018? I'm still talking about it. It still f***ed me up. I heard Yanni for like 2 weeks, and then one day I listened back and then it was Laurel all of a sudden, and then my life changed forever. Couldn't go back. This got everybody talking. What is this phenomenon that happens? Is this a glitch in the Matrix? How can you hear one thing and then a completely different sound moments later? The dress fiasco as well. Black and blue, white and gold. We see it often. What the hell is actually happening here?
Laurel. 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 Laurel.
While many believe that these viral illusions are proof that we're living in a simulation. And while these arguments are fun, they really just prove that we perceive reality in our own individual way. Everybody is living an individually perceived reality, so sometimes it doesn't align across the board. Sometimes I hear Laurel while you hear Yanni. And now I can't go back, and now I always hear that stuck in my head. It's just Laurel. God, I hated this. Number 5, rain glitch. This one comes from Paris, when a man decided to take this video one day when the weather was acting up. Anytime you film weather, you always know it's going to be a bad time. First of all, it's not abnormal for rain to hit one part of a city while other parts stay dry with clear skies. I've been there before. It's trippy, it's kind of fun, whatever. But this one here, this one takes the cake. It's just raining in one spot, like literally one specific spot. One tiny spot is absolutely getting poured down on, seemingly out of nowhere. But everywhere else is not. It's just a casual, nice day. Now at first I thought that maybe someone from above was pouring water, maybe, because that's what people do, I guess, in their spare time. But the video does pan up and you see nothing above this random rainfall, so we can check that off our boxes. If there's a scientific explanation for this, please tell me in the comments, because again, I have no idea what's going on here. I can't help you. All I have to say is hit the thumbs up, you know, all that good shit, but a scientist, please help me in the comments. Number 4, manhole cover glitch. I'm not sure if these have the same name in every country or whatever, but this video is in reference to a manhole cover. You know those really heavy metal lids that go on top of holes on the ground that leads to sewers? I don't know. Mario stomps on them in Mario Sunshine and then he pops up somewhere else in the city. Those. They're designed to be extremely heavy, so of course people can't just waltz into the sewer systems whenever they feel like it, which is probably a good thing. This isn't the Victorian era anymore, we don't want to be down there. But this video would make it seem like otherwise. This video is very short, but it shows one of these covers just bouncing up and down as though it's 1, lightweight, and 2, there's air coming up from underneath it, just bouncing it around. It would take a lot of air to do this, considering the typical cover weighs 250 pounds. This reminds me of the end of As Above, So Below. It's a terrifying movie. I don't want to see that moving around at all. Thank you. Number 3, people frozen in time. In September 2019, a Buffalo, New York resident caught this extremely eerie and uncomfortable glitch in the Matrix. A woman was driving past a park when she needed to take out her camera and record what was going on because it looked that messed up. Fair, more than fair. A bunch of people in the park were just completely frozen still. They were just like, out of nowhere. And it wasn't like a group of people in the park who were doing like a social experiment or like some sort of weird piece of performance art, anything like that that involved a lot of people or something being completely still. I don't know, it's like a flash mob that doesn't move. Is that a thing? That's the only explanation that I can think of. A flash mob that doesn't dance or move. They're like 3, 2, 1. The most boring flash mob on the planet. It reminds me of the scene in Logan when everybody's stuck. That's terrifying. That's a situation you don't want to be part of. That's not good. Yeah, do you see what I mean by this being the creepiest video ever? Everyone's just stuck, standing where they are. What's going on here? Have you seen this? Someone tell me. I need answers. Down there. I need answers right now. And photos of Spider-Man. Number 2, are birds real? Apparently there's a huge thing going on right now where people don't believe that birds are real. There's thousands of people who are gathering outside and protesting against birds. I don't know what's going on. This glitch comes from a Reddit user called AmerXPOO from the time that they captured some birds behaving very strangely. So think what you want, but I think birds are real. Whatever. I'll let you take a look at the clip first and then we'll talk shop afterwards. When I first watched this, I 100% thought that it was photoshopped. I truly cannot believe that I was seeing this because there's just no way, right? From what you're seeing, these are animals. From the coordination of the flying all the way to the ripples of the color changes, I thought this was fake the entire time. It's not. As it turns out, this is actually perfectly explainable. This is called a murmur, and it basically is a defensive posture that birds take. Truly one of the coolest things that I've ever seen, hence why I thought that it was unbelievable. And there are more videos of it that you can actually look up, and I implore you to because it's fascinating. This is like bird choreography. This is next level. People don't believe that birds are real And videos like this make me agree, yeah, fair. 1 point for the bird Gryffindor. Are seagulls real? Pigeons aren't real. Pigeons are fucking weird. And finally, number 1, twins named Jim. Back in 1979, a set of twins were reunited. They were 39 at the time, and this was of course a big moment in their lives because for 37 years, they barely knew of each other's existence. Yeah, that's pretty sad. When they did finally meet, the long lost twins had more in common than anybody ever thought. For starters, both had been named Jim. I spoiled that one in the fun title there, but both of these Jims, they loved math and carpentry. Okay. Both also had jobs in security. Okay. Their ex-wives were both named Linda. Okay. And they've since both married a woman named Betty. That's so many coincidences, I have no idea what's going on. Imagine meeting another you and he's like, oh yeah, I love knitting and Autobots. What are the odds? No way, that's way too eerie. That's a glitch in the Matrix or an alien clone. Something's not right here. I don't know. I'm glad you guys found each other, but maybe you weren't supposed to. Know what I mean? I've seen some movies. I've seen Black Mirror. That's all I'm saying.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have this car chase glitch. This video was caught on a police dash cam and shows something pretty unexplainable. The police officer is on a car chase with the perpetrator. The criminal is doing his best to evade the police and continually fakes pulling over to then quickly turn around. He's going pretty crazy, swerving all over the road, which is both confusing and strange. But this is when things really take a weird turn. He takes a turn towards a fence, and this is when something that I can't understand happens. It would appear as though this man somehow drove through a fence that was left with no holes, and then just basically disappeared into the night. I honestly can't figure out what happened here, but this guy must have been extremely lucky, or something more sinister was going on. In our number 9 spot today, we have this bird glitch. This glitch comes from a Reddit user called AmmerXP00 from a time they captured some birds behaving very strangely. I'll just let you take a look at it first, and then we can discuss. When I first watched this, I 100% thought it was photoshopped. I truly could not believe what I was seeing because there is just no way. From the coordination of the flying all the way to the ripples of color changes, I thought this was just made up or truly a huge glitch in the Matrix. As it turns out, there's actually an explanation for this. This is called a murmur and is basically a defensive posture that birds take. It truly is one of the coolest things I have ever seen, and there are more videos of it that you can look up because it is fascinating. I feel like I would be the one bird who just didn't get the new choreo memo because this looks intricate. In our number 8 spot today, we have people frozen in time. In September of 2019, a Buffalo, New York resident caught this extremely eerie and uncomfortable glitch in the Matrix. A woman was driving past a park when she needed to take out her camera and record what was going on because it truly is so bizarre. A bunch of people in a park were completely frozen still. And it wasn't like one group of people in the park who were just trying to do something. It was every single person that was there. Maybe there was some kind of weird piece of performance art that involved a lot of people or something, because that is the only explanation that I can think of. Do you see what I mean by this just being the creepiest thing? I just can't shake the bad feeling that this video gives me. In our number 7 spot today, we have this manhole cover glitch.
On Earth is this one bouncing around so madly, so freely, as if it's as light as a feather.
I'm not sure if these have the same names in every country, but this video is in reference to a manhole cover. You know those really heavy metal lids that go on top of the holes that lead to the sewer? They're designed to be extremely heavy so that people can't just waltz into the sewer system whenever they feel like, which is probably a good thing, but this video would make it seem otherwise. This video is very short, but it shows one of these covers basically just bouncing up and down as if it is lightweight and there's air coming up from underneath it. It would take a lot of air to do this, considering the typical cover weighs 113 kilos or 249 pounds. It makes it seem like something is down there pushing up on it, but what could be strong enough? And also, why is anyone in there at all? And also, shouldn't someone be helping if there really is someone down there? This is all to say I really cannot explain this one, so it truly must be a glitch in the simulation of our reality. In our number 6 spot today, we have this rain glitch. This video was taken by a man in Paris when the weather was acting unlike anything I have ever seen. It's not abnormal for rain to hit one part of a city while the other part has clear skies, but this takes that one step further. The skies are cloudy, so it's not completely abnormal to see rain, but it is just raining in one spot. One tiny spot is absolutely pouring rain, seemingly out of nowhere, but everywhere else is not raining. At first I thought that maybe someone from up above is pouring water, but the video does pan up for you to see nothing above this random rainfall. If there is a scientific explanation for this, please leave it in the comments because this one is honestly unbelievable. In our number 5 spot today, we have this propeller glitch. This video comes from a flight to Edinburgh. A passenger began taking a video of the propeller on the side of the plane when they caught this strange glitch in the matrix. This propeller is of course moving, or at least we all hope it is, but it appears as if it isn't. This is most likely due to the speed of the propeller and the camera not being able to pick up its speed, but man does this video make it look strange. The video has this weird effect where it looks like it's almost sped up or something. It's super strange how it appears as though the propeller is moving either up or down based on the direction he moves the phone. Definitely a cool but very strange video that you could definitely use to freak your friends out. In our number 4 spot today, we have this plane glitch. This video comes from Moscow and shows what looks like a plane completely stuck in the air. This is of course impossible, so you can understand everyone's disbelief when they first see this video. Imagine just casually driving down the road and witnessing this. I guess the only appropriate response would be to capture it on video, because how else would you explain this to anyone else? I'm going to assume that this is some sort of optical illusion, but it is just very strange to see a plane that is that close to the ground that isn't either ascending or descending. It is possible that the clear skies made it more difficult to see the movement of the plane, but whatever really happened here, it definitely is strange. In our number 3 spot today, we have this reflection glitch. This video comes from TikTok and shows a very confused driver in traffic. This man started filming a car that was slightly ahead of him in the next lane when he noticed something was really off. The man is in a convertible and his reflection can be seen in one of the side mirrors. You can see this man moving his head around in his car, which is normal because he is of course a human being, but what isn't normal is the fact that his reflection is not moving along with him. It really is one of those things you have to see to believe.
Right? And his face is moving, but look at that, his face just moved, but the guy in the mirror is seeing the same. Yo, the matrix is broken.
You guys, this one was a weird glitch, and if it wasn't a glitch, the only other explanation I have is that maybe he's a ghost. Either way, something weird is happening over there. In our number 2 spot today, we have this Tyson fight glitch. This one takes place in 1995, and it may be a glitch, but it also could be a time traveler. This video is from a Mike Tyson fight, and while Tyson is of course the star of the video, there is a person in the audience who caught everyone's attention, and for a good reason. This fight, like I said, took place in 1995, but when you peek into the audience, it appears as though someone is taking their own video with what looks like a smartphone. This gadget that they are holding doesn't look like most cameras for the time and very closely resembles our smartphone cameras, with the lens not being in the center but more off to the side. I know it was kind of difficult to see, but did you guys see that person on the left? I honestly don't know what to make of it or really how to explain this one. In our number 1 spot today, we have this dance battle glitch. This video shows some kind of dance battle, which I am absolutely here for until things get a little weird. It is a b-boy style dance-off, and one kid is wearing a red hat, which he throws into the audience. Shortly after he throws the hat, he is doing some breakdancing on the floor when the red hat literally reappears out of nowhere. This kid is not only a great dancer, but also apparently a magician, because how the heck does this even happen? I honestly watched this video probably 20 times trying to figure out how and when this could have happened, but I am absolutely stumped.
Coming in number 10, we have the invisible car crash. Now, there are tons of ways to explain real-life glitches. When you see someone lag on camera, that could have just been the recording. When you see a plane stalled in the sky, like we had on our last video, that could be explained through some clever editing. But I don't really know how you fake a car crash like the one I'm about to show you. Yeah, you guys just saw what I just saw, right? That was a car that was crashing into nothing. There was a car that was zooming along the highway, and then it smacked into an invisible barrier. Now, this could have been some pole in the road that was angled so perfectly that the driver and the camera couldn't see it. Now, that is possible, but highly unlikely. How could something that thin and small be strong enough to cause a moving car that's going about 60 kilometers an hour to stop in its tracks? Was there some sort of invisible force field there that was left on by accident? Or could this just be someone spending hours editing something strange to put out as disinformation to make us all very confused? Either way, I would be pissed if I was the owner of that car. You don't do anything wrong, and then something invisible causes your car to be a write-off? Is that even covered under your insurance? Coming at number 9, we have sailing in the sky. If you have it in your mind that you will never reach the level of wealth to afford a sailboat, well, let me tell you that there's a whole other level of wealth that we have no idea about. There is a class of people who have been taking their boats to the skies. Aren't we all seeing that right now? I have no idea how reflections off the water will affect your camera and how it will pick that up, but that looks like someone got their boat to fly through the sky at a very reasonable pace. I mean, that boat is just cruising along, not too fast or slow. Sky sailing is a brand new thing, and this guy has already mastered it, but how on earth is that happening? Is there some new boat-shaped plane that we don't know about? I mean, that does sound like something that Elon Musk would make. Tesla has a car that looks like a tank, and now they have a plane that looks like a boat. Coming in number 8, we have teleporting, time traveling, or NPC. I would imagine that sometime in the future we will lock down teleportation. I don't know if time travel is on the table, but who knows? If we went back 100 years and got someone to eat Korean fried chicken, they might have an overdose from all the flavor. But if people are working on it, you would imagine it would take some time to work out all the kinks. In this next clip, we might be seeing the early stages of people glitching reality so they can teleport. You see, that massive truck had to swerve out of the way so they didn't crash into that lady. Some random woman appeared out of nowhere, and it looks like she has a perfectly clean lab coat on. I mean, I don't know how someone would end up walking around in the middle of the highway miles away from any town, but they usually don't dress like they came right out of the lab. She seems so calm even though she was almost hit by a truck. Usually when a 16-wheeler has to swerve out of the way so it doesn't crash into me, I wet my jeans just a little bit. But she's just strolling like she knew she was going to be safe, or she's a poorly programmed NPC. Next on the list, we have Brady Fiegel squared. There are a lot of people in this world who say they have found their twin. I'm looking at you, David Diggs. If I get tagged in one more picture of you, I'm gonna have to chase you down and take a side-by-side picture so people know we're not the same person. But even though David Diggs and I kinda look the same, we have nowhere close to the same similarities as Brady Fiegel and Brady Fiegel. For one, both these guys have the exact same name. On top of that, they both play professional baseball. On top of that, they are both left-handed pitchers. This seems pretty rare, and you would expect this to be the point where the similarities end. Well, guess what? There's more. For one, they both look almost identical. They both have had the same surgery from the same doctor, and they even dress similar, wearing the same glasses. It would seem that the random person generator that populates this planet with people might have glitched and made two copies of the same dude. People thought that they might have been long-lost twins that were separated at birth. A DNA test showed that that wasn't true, but they did have the same German ancestry. Coming in next on the list, we have the cat reflection. I don't know what kind of software is going into making the mirrors in our giant simulation world, but it would seem that this is a place ripe for glitches. Oh, and just so we're clear, I'm not a believer in simulation theory. I just like playing along with the theme for this list. But even though I think that everything can be explained logically, this next clip is a little trippy. The CPU that is in charge of getting everything running must have been putting the computing power somewhere else when this went off. I mean, that would be a good sign to tell if you are an important person if you think simulation theory is real. Like, if this is indeed a simulation, I'm going to play with this idea for a moment, and there are a bunch of glitches around you, that would mean that the universal computing power is being used somewhere else on more important and interesting people. So if you see those glitches, that's your sign to step up your game because your life is boring. Next on the list, we have Mark Zuck is a Matrix program. If there's anyone that could be a lizard person or a robot or an alien or some sort of simulation-based software person that has been put into the world to control us and cause havoc, it would be Mark Zuckerberg. And there have been several moments where people have caught this poor excuse for an alien trying to be a human acting weird. But this one has to be my favorite.
You need to focus and try not to let stuff bother you as much as possible. But it is gonna bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human, still.
The Zuck was caught red-handed saying that he wasn't a human. That has to be one of the most obvious glitches ever. The programmers would have been like, who's in charge of writing the script for Zuckerberg, and why did you make him act like a robot and make references to not being human because you're blowing our cover big time? I mean, let's say in the next few years there's a massive revolution and we get into a bunch of secret files about which famous people living among us are aliens and which ones are humans. I would be more surprised to find out that this guy is actually fully human. Next on the list, we have the rain spot. I mean, we all hate bad weather, so I think many of us would prefer if we could condense it into one spot and have everything else nice all the time. Well, I guess there must have been a trial run for some new rain patches because that's what we got here. It would seem that for some reason the clouds in that area have glitched out and the rain is pouring down in only one spot. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. Now that has to be some sort of glitch or the plot to a children's book called The Loneliest Rain Cloud. A book about a cloud that is rainy all the time, but all the other clouds around him are nice, so he has no friends. And he travels around everywhere trying to make friends, but everyone runs from him because they don't want to get wet. Someone get my publicist on the phone because I have a book to write. Next on the list, guys, we have the smartphone time traveler. One of the wildest things ever caught on camera is the footage from a Mike Tyson fight that looks like there's someone filming the fight in the background. The reason that this is so weird is because the footage is from 1995, and even though there were some phones back then that could have been considered smartphones, there was nothing released that had a camera on it. That wouldn't be released for another 5 years. And when you look at the footage, it seems like that phone is a very modern smartphone. Now, this could have been some device that simply looks like a phone, and people have been making the case to say that this is in fact a smartphone, so they can argue that time travel is real, but really we have no idea what happened here. We have no idea who was recording this Mike Tyson fight with this mysterious device. Next on the list, guys, we have a plane vanishes. Now, there have been a lot of reports of all sorts of stuff like this. Like, apparently all of the alien stuff that happened in Roswell, New Mexico, that was all faked by the government because they were testing out experimental aircrafts, and they decided that making people think that aliens were real was safer than telling them what the military was up to. So what you're about to see might be some secret government aircraft caught on camera, or it might be a glitch. I mean, you all saw what I just saw, right? There was a plane there and then it was gone. Everyone was focused on it. It was in the sky and then it blinked out of existence like half the people in Avengers Infinity War. Also, random question for the comments. Would you rather be one of the people who blinked out of existence when Thanos snapped his fingers and then came back 3 years later to a whole new world? Or would you have rather been there the whole time and lived through the whole thing and saw the world post-snap? Well, whoever was on the plane seems like they didn't have a choice in disappearing because because now they are for sure gone, unless the sky is all a massive projection and that was just a glitch on one of the screens. And coming in at the #1 spot, we have the Pope vanishes. Now, I will start off by saying I have no idea what the Pope does and what his powers are. Can he fly? Can he control the weather? Does he have telekinesis? I never went to church, so I don't know. So the clip that went viral of him vanishing about a year ago might be one of his holy powers, or it was a glitch that no one was supposed to see. Let's take a look. That was something that was seen from the Pope's balcony as he was addressing people about the COVID-19 pandemic. After his speech was done, he just vanished, and there were several news outlets that showed the exact same thing. So this wasn't just a broadcast that screwed up. Some say this might have been a hologram of the Pope because he was actually isolating somewhere and didn't want to catch the virus. I mean, we know that hologram tech is real. Most of us have seen that massive Tupac hologram that came out years ago. And if anyone has access to the latest and greatest hologram tech, it has to be the Pope. Coming in at #10, we have car crash from nothing. I know I'm not the only one who has seen a video like this before. A car is just gliding on the street, and then out of nowhere, it seems like the car crashes into nothing. Let's have a look. There are dozens of videos like this all over the internet, and I have yet to hear a good answer for why something like this could happen. We all just watched the same thing, right? A car is cruising down the street, and then boom, it smashes into an invisible wall. And it doesn't just stop there, it kind of gets rejected out of the way, like there was some sort of energy pushing the car away from it. Now, is this a glitch of the Matrix? Is this some sort of alien tech that we don't know about? Or does the Earth just shoot out some invisible energy at random times of the day that can ruin your car in a way that will never be covered by your car insurance? I would love some answers on this, so please jump into the comments and let us know what's going on, because this one has my head spinning in every direction. And guys, make sure you hit that like button because it really helps us out. Next on the list, we have copycat NPC. Running into someone that looks like you isn't the most common thing in the world, but it does happen. But running into someone that is dressed just like you and also is doing the exact same thing as you, well, that would make you think that there's something off in the Matrix.
These two complete strangers stood next to each other utterly randomly, yet both seem to have the exact same legs.
For any of our viewers who play video games, especially games like Fallout and Skyrim, you know that with big open world games, eventually you're going to run into another NPC that looks and sounds a lot like someone else in the world. The games are just too big to render everything completely unique. Well, that might be what happened in the picture we just saw. Our simulated world couldn't compute with what was going on and had to fart out a couple of the same character models just to keep things processing normally. Maybe that's what twins are. The software that runs this world needs to keep cranking out some people, so it just shoves two into the world at the same time who look exactly the same. All this time, we thought twins were special, but they're really just lazy programming. Also, I want to cover this. I've said this before, but I don't believe in simulation theory. It's just fun to play around with this idea for these videos. Coming in #8, we have Daniel Radcliffe on repeat. There are a lot of people who have doppelgangers in this world. If we look through history, there are even more, especially when it comes to celebrities. But the weird thing with Daniel Radcliffe is that he has so many of them throughout history that his bloodline must be one of the strongest ever, or there is some very lazy programming going on. He has spoken about this on several talk shows, as it's always a fun thing to bring up. But one of the weirdest parts about all the Radcliffe clones that exist now and in the past is that they are both men and women who look so much like him. It would seem that this man has the basic character set for character creation. Like, you know, when you start a game up for the first time and then you get a character creation screen and they just give you a generic face to start with, Radcliffe must be the starting face for both men and women. That's why we have so many of him walking around the world. Coming in at #7, we have Caught on Live TV. It can be easy to brush some of these aside as fake or just a coincidence, which they all probably are. But when you catch something on live TV, it brings up a few more questions. Like you all just saw what I saw, right? There was a ball there, it was flying through the air, and then it was gone out of nowhere. It was like it warped into another dimension. That would be a terrible thing to send to another world. We don't send any sort of information, just a really hard ball moving very fast. Now, I don't know what happened here and where that lands in the rulebook. Like, if the pitcher throws the ball and in between the ball getting hit and flying off for a home run, it warps out of existence, is that still a home run? Do you just get to go to first base? I mean, if we're going to keep messing around with time space, then we might have to start filling these things out in the rulebook because they're going to start happening a lot more. Next on the list, guys, we have checkered waves. I have to say, I have no idea how the ocean works. You could tell me that it's all powered by some dude on a bike at the bottom of the ocean who doesn't need to breathe or take any breaks, and I would believe you. I mean, even me just saying that the ocean is powered shows you how little I really know about anything. But I don't think I have ever heard of something like this happening. Now, take a long, hard look at this because at first it took me a second. If you look at the waves coming from the top of the picture, you can see that they're going towards the beach. But then if you look at the waves to the left of the picture, it looks like they're going along the beach. Now, I need to say that I don't know anything about science, so there's probably a very simple explanation for this that I don't know about, but I just see what looks like the beach glitching out because someone programmed the waves wrong. Next on the list, we have gaming squared. Now, for this one, I wouldn't be surprised if these two were just twins that were left in a Walmart to play some video games while their mom was doing some shopping. That's what I would do as a kid, and that's what so many other kids love to do. But this is still weird. Like you were seeing what I'm seeing, right? These look like they are the exact same kid doing the exact same thing. Now, there is a lot that bothers me about this. I mean, if you do have twins, please don't dress them up the same way, because if I saw something like this in person, my brain would probably Control-Alt-Delete and I would pass out. But also, let's say this whole glitch in the Matrix thing is real. You're telling me that when I was a kid and I was waiting for my turn to play games at the store and I didn't get a chance, it was because there was a glitch? I'm calling up God and complaining about this one. Does he have a customer service team that I can complain to, like a Karen who isn't happy about her life so she takes it out on other people? Is that what praying is? Is praying just complaining to God's customer service team? Next on the list, guys, we have something in the mirror. Now that we have so many people that are jumping over to simulation theory like it's the next big religion, some people have been asking themselves, do you think that everything we see as ghosts or paranormal could just be glitches in the system? Like, was that thing that the girl saw float through the mirror some sort of spooky ghost, or just some bad programming that made it seem like an NPC was somewhere that they shouldn't have been? Or was this just an edited video that was thrown on the internet to give a ton of people the heebie-jeebies? Next on the list, guys, we have the Russian bike teleporter. This is one of the most famous glitch in the Matrix clips on the internet. I have probably watched this north of 50 times and I still can't figure out how this man is able to appear out of nowhere.
Не мешай ничего.
Нормально, нормально.
Давай, мне подойди.
Ну что, давай тогда еще разок.
На болте еще.
I mean, there is a lot going on in that clip. To even get to the bottom of our mysterious bike person, we need to first ignore what's going on in front of him. Like, was that dude on the right selling stuff out of the back of his truck, and why does he have an accordion? On top of that, does the other dude just talk like that all the time, or was he drunk? Those are the questions we need to block out just so we can see the man on the back warp out of thin air on a bike like he came through a wormhole. I wonder if in the future they will have bikes that can ride through wormholes. That would just be such a pleasant way to go through time. Next on the list, guys, we have the Soloway Spaceman. This is one of the most famous cases of glitches in the Matrix or extraterrestrials that we have ever seen. First, let me show you the picture, and then I will give you a breakdown of everything that happened. So, sitting in this picture is Elizabeth Templeton, just a young girl hanging out with some flowers back in the year 1964. Seems like like she was having a very good time without a care in the world. Now her father took this picture, and let me tell you, he's not the guy standing behind her in the picture. This was back in the year 1964, so obviously back then you didn't know what you took in a picture until you had the film developed. Once Liz's father Jim got the photos back, he noticed the spaceman standing behind her, and he started to tell people about the mysterious person that was caught in the picture. Since that day, him and his daughter were alone in the field. Eventually the news spread, and it was the talk of the town. This led to Jim getting a visit from two men in black who told him to forget what he saw. To this day, the picture has never been explained. Coming into the number 1 spot, we have the floating bird. Now, I know we have shown other birds stuck in the air through this series, but this one just baffles me. I want to say it's just a spider web or something, but look at this. How does a bird fly up into the air and then just get stuck like that? I know that there's a lot to learn about gravity, but I thought a universal law was what goes up must come down, not what goes up comes down most of the time, but sometimes gets stuck in the air and then flaps around and freaks everyone out. I didn't know that was one of the laws. Coming in number 10, we have the water is broken. We all know how water is supposed to flow. We know what water is. It always flows downwards. It's usually in a smooth motion unless it's crashing like a massive wave. We all know that Bruce Lee video. And it stays together. Like it can splash, but it's not going to float through the air in separate pieces. Well, then someone please explain to me how this could happen. There is clearly something off here. Whoever's in charge of the code of this part of the world needs to get over here right now because things are falling apart. The water is floating in midair, and if I look at that for too much longer, my brain is going to break in half. Like, is water that does that even safe to drink? Or if I drink it, is the water that makes up my body going to start to drift apart and I'll float away? Will my body rip apart like someone put C4 up my butt like in Man on Fire? If you guys have not seen Man on Fire, you should go check out that movie right now because it is amazing. Shout out to Denzel Washington. And guys, make sure that you hit that like button because it really helps us out. Coming at number 9, we have Somebody Restart Shaq. This one might be the most famous one on the list because it involves one of the most famous people in the world. We all know Shaquille O'Neal for his amazing sports commentary, for his hilarious show Shaq Versus, and probably for his biggest accomplishment being in a movie where he was a genie. Also, don't forget about the video game Shaq Fu. Well, with that many accomplishments, is Shaq who he is because he worked his butt off to be the best? Or is it because he was programmed? Well, if he is part of the fabric of this simulation, then someone needs to restart him. Check out this clip. He's stuck there like a loading screen. Maybe it was the guy watching this TV. Maybe the image on his TV froze for a moment, so it made it seem like Shaq couldn't move. Or this dude is part of the Matrix, and if you manage to get out of the Matrix, he is Agent Smith. Someone please tell me that Shaq is the villain in the 4th Matrix movie. That would really make my life so much better. Coming in number 8, we have Goodbye Snow. This next glitch looks like it was pulled right out of a James Bond movie. I mean, it just happened so perfectly, you would think that this SUV has some sort of camouflage tech, and I don't think that comes with the standard model. You might need to upgrade to the S series for that one. Well, what we're about to see is an SUV driving along the road, and then all of a sudden there's snow that starts to fly off the top of the car, and it almost completely vanishes.
But otherwise nothing out of the ordinary here. But these glitches seem to come when we least expect them. Slowly but surely the car appears to fade away. Slowly but surely it is consumed by the snowflakes.
You all saw what I just saw, right? This thing was there and then it was gone. Now the logical answer is that the car was there and then it sped up, which caused the snow on top of the car to fly off, which then caused low visibility so you couldn't see it as it drove away. But even the tail lights disappear. I'm not one to jump to conclusions, but there might be some alien tech in that family-sized car. That seems like the most logical explanation. Coming in at number 7, we have the cup dance. Okay, this one is supposed to be someone's sound system making a paper cup float. And I gotta say, yes, it is probably the sound system because sound waves can be extremely powerful. I mean, did you know that a flashbang can make you poop your pants? I bet you didn't know that. That's how much a loud noise can affect you. So remember that every time your player gets flashbanged in COD, they are actually pooping their pants. But let's take a look at this and then you can be the judge of whether or not this is a glitch. Okay, that sound system in the car must be jacked up. Also, I don't think you should play it so loud. That can't be good for your ears. But could it really make a cup stutter step like that? I don't know anything about sound systems, so maybe. Coming in at number 6, we have the floating manhole. Now, even though this sounds much more devious than it is, I promise you that this is not that nasty. Just take a look at this clip.
So how on earth is this one bouncing around so madly, so freely, as if it's as light as a feather?
Now, you would think that maybe there is just a buildup of farts in the sewers, but there would have to be a hell of a lot of farts for that thing to move. Do you know how much a manhole weighs? That thing isn't just going to dance like that unless there's some serious force underneath it or a glitch in the Matrix. Coming in number 5, we have the mysterious tree. I couldn't imagine a worse thing to wake up to. Picture this. You have a great night's sleep. You wake up before your alarm, fully rested. You have a great breakfast, and then you get your things ready for work, and then you walk outside, and there's a tree through your car. That would be a pretty upsetting thing to find all of the sudden. And it didn't get blown through your car in some storm, it grew through your car. Take a look at this. How does that happen? It looks like the programmer of Earth was sleeping on the job and then forgot where the trees are supposed to go. Also, there's no way that car insurance covers mysterious trees that pop up in your car. That sucks. Coming in at number 4, we have the plane stalled. Now, if a plane actually stalls, we know it can be the worst thing possible that can happen to you while you're in the air. The plane will start to fall towards the ground and you can kiss your butt goodbye because that's probably going to be the end of you. But I guess sometimes it doesn't have to go like that. There's apparently a stop in the sky option that no one ever told us about. Well, it looks like we're going to have to take a look at this one to make sure it's real. Now, looking at this thing, you can see that the footage is actually pretty grainy, so who knows? Maybe the person who filmed this just added the plane to the sky afterwards and then uploaded this freaky video to the internet to freak out all of us. Or maybe the Cyberpunk devs will get to this one with the next patch. I mean, we're doing a list on glitches. I needed to do at least one Cyberpunk joke. I have to say that I love that game, and I'm really sorry for anyone who's playing it on console because it's running really good on PC. But hopefully, after a long, hard road of patches, the game will work on every platform. Coming in at number 3, we have the afterglow. Now, the afterglow is the feeling you have after you meet me for the first time. I am just that amazing. Just kidding, most people feel like they need a shower after they meet me. But the afterglow is an effect that can happen sometimes in a mirror. I haven't heard of this before, but let me just show you so it can make a little bit more sense.
Demonstrated by the shovel glass placed vertically to the real lamp. However, it's so hard to accept that such bulbs could produce afterglows.
Now, what is apparently happening is that the light that is coming off the bulb is still glowing in the mirror because it was so bright. Now, I don't know if that's a real thing or if it's just something made up to explain this glitch in the Matrix. But even if that is something that can actually happen, I don't think a little hotel light would have enough juice to leave a glow stain in the mirror. I would think that you would need something a lot more powerful, but I also don't know anything about science, so who the hell am I to say anything? Coming in at number 2, we have a floating bird. It turns out planes aren't the only ones that will get stuck in the sky. Let's just hope that if any people watching this video are falling from the sky down to the earth, then this glitch will happen because it seems like it could be a lifesaver. How does a bird do something like that? Now, once again, we are working with grainy footage. I mean, catching something extraordinary on camera almost has to be on grainy footage, or else it doesn't make any sense. So, who knows? Maybe this bird was caught in something and all the people around it wanted to help it out. They saw that if they gave this bird a little push, that it would be able to get free. Maybe this footage was taken in a country that has some massive spiders that have webs big enough to catch birds, and all we we saw was a bird that was stuck in a massive spider web, and then that dude hit it with a broom and he was able to knock it free. That could have been what happened, or was it another glitch in the Matrix? Woo! Coming into the number 1 spot, we have a lady vanishes. Now this is a pretty common glitch, but probably the one that is the hardest to explain. Like with the bird, we could say that it could have been a spider web. With the car, it was snow flying off and it could have just been bad visibility. But when you see someone standing in one spot and then they're gone right when someone passes in front of them, that makes it seem like there's something wrong with the programming. I've seen this kind of glitch again and again. I've seen it with cars, I've seen it with other things, but this one stands out to me because where did that lady go? Did she just duck down for no reason? Why would she do something like that? Was she trying to freak everyone out and make it seem like she had disappeared? And if anyone was going to disappear, it seemed like it should have been her. She was kind of a background character in that scenario.
At number 10, we have the Fermi paradox. This theory has some holes, but it is still very interesting, so it was a perfect way to start out this list. We live in a universe that spans an unfathomable distance and has so many planets in them, you couldn't count them even if you were really good at counting. So, some of them are much older than ours, so that means that their life would be way more advanced. So why on earth have we never heard of any of these aliens? Why have they not come out of the stars to see us? Well, this could be because we have a government that is hiding them from us, or it could be because we are in a simulated world and there's no benefit to simulating life on other planets. That could mean that the processing power and whatever we're hooked up to just isn't strong enough. We need to get a rig that is way better if we want some alien life to come in. We've got to invest in a new graphics card and stuff. At number 9, we have the Mandela effect. You might have heard of this. This is where people misremember something from the past. Now, people misremembering things happens all the time. What's the big deal? But the Mandela effect is literally thousands of people remembering it a different way. It's called the Mandela effect because there are thousands of people, maybe even millions, who remember Nelson Mandela dying in the 80s. But he didn't die in the 80s. This dude lived until he was an old man. Or am I remembering it wrong? Are the other people right? The reason why this could be proof of a simulation is because these slight mistakes could show some sort of human error or a glitch in the system on the side of the people who are running the simulation. Someone sat down on the wrong button and was like, oh, I killed Nelson Mandela. I'm gonna get written up for this for sure. God damn, that wasn't supposed to happen. At number 8, we have deja vu. If you haven't seen The Matrix, then what are you doing with your life? It's not only one of the most amazing movies that showcases what could happen if AI gets out of control, but it also is one of the greatest action movies of all time. And there's a 4th one coming, so you need to catch up on everything. Now, The Matrix was one of the first movies to showcase the simulation idea, and evidence of The Matrix or something changing in The Matrix was deja vu. If you saw something repeat itself, it meant that you were in the simulation and that things were about to get crazy. Now, how does this translate to the real world? What if The Matrix wasn't so much a movie, but it was a message? What if the people outside of the simulation wanted us to figure it out? And see if any people would use the hints laid throughout the movie as a way to actually break free from this digital prison. There could be clues throughout that movie that showcase all the signs of us being in a world of ones and zeros. Either that, I'm starting to look like Charlie from It Was Always Sunny with the strings and paper, and I'm like, eh. At number 7, we have simulation loop. We are already starting to see what is called a simulation loop. We live in a simulated society. Many things we create are larger versions of smaller things. Planes are simulations of birds. Tanks are simulations of beetles. As we create what we think is better versions of what already exists. Now we could be getting close to a loop of creating a world which is more interesting than our own. Virtual reality has started to take the world by storm, and in it we will build worlds that are far more superior to our own. Worlds where people can fly, everyone is rich, you don't get sick, and everyone can res their buddy because they got the ray gun. Now, some people theorize that we have done this before and we are currently living in a previously created simulation, and we might be headed into another loop in the near future and go into a simulation again. So it's like simulation on simulation. Inception. In simulation. No, I'm not going to work on that. I made that word up. I'm sorry. At number 6, we have the double slit experiment. This was an experiment where you take a panel of copper plate with 2 slits in it and then you fire electrons at it to see how the electrons interact on the other side. Do they move through in waves or particles? The first time this experiment was performed, the electrons seemed as though they were moving through in particles. The scientists wanted to see this in action, so they set up a device to observe this. And when the electrons were under observation, they moved in waves. So they did the test again without the observation simulation and they went back to particles, meaning that the electrons would change how they interacted based on whether or not they were being observed. If this was a simulation, much like a video game, the processing power would increase on certain areas when you were looking at them, which would explain how this changed the electron activity. Obviously, it's probably a lot smarter explanation than that, but I'm going with the simulation one because I am not smart. At number 5, we have Elon Musk said so. Come on, you can't argue with this dude. He's one of the smartest, richest people around. If anyone knew we were in a simulation, it would be this guy. He probably sees the Matrix all the time. He just doesn't want to freak us out by letting us know that there is a 100% chance we are in a simulation, by letting us know that there's a 100% chance we are in a simulation. Also, if anyone was on the up and up on whether or not we are in a simulation, it would be billionaires. Not because they paid someone to figure it out, but because they clearly have cracked some sort of code and know how the world works and are doing something we don't understand. If you had that kind of knowledge, you would be able to get ahead in the game. But Elon has made the theory of a simulation world so popular, so is he our digital messiah, or is he just a little bit crazy and has a lot of money? At number 4, we have That's Why We Have Ghosts. Now this seems like I'm trying to explain a myth with a crazy explanation, but that is why you guys come here. We want to get a little crazy with our theories because that is way more fun. Just walking around in our own reality, we don't want to do that, jeez. But what if ghosts and hauntings have nothing to do with ghosts, but they are glitchy parts of our own reality? Like a haunted house is just basically Fallout 76. Ghosts are floating around doing the T-pose, freaking everyone out. Demons, werewolves, all that sort of spooky stuff that we've always heard about, myths, monsters, and creatures that could all kill us, that's just DLC that the public didn't like and then they just patched it out. And number 3, we have creative purpose theory. Why do we exist? Some people think it's to serve God, other people think it's just to have fun, other people think there is no purpose at all, that we just live and die to get farted out into the earth and never heard from again. But what if we had a much greater purpose? To create, to make something so smart and so interesting we couldn't bear to compete with it. As we get closer and closer to making AI, it seems that a self-aware, learning, adapting intelligence that has the power of the internet in its mind would be too much for us to compete with. It would be a living God that we made, and we should be pretty proud of ourselves for doing it. But what if that is our purpose? To make a being that is all-knowing and able to move through the universe, consume knowledge, and become even more powerful, all without needing to eat, sleep, procreate, or even take breaks. What if we already did this and now we're living inside this endless machine, and the only reason it keeps us alive in this falsified world is because it wants to keep learning from us? Well, if that's the case, download me some abs because it's almost beach season. At number 2, we have computer viruses for people. DNA is a type of code, much like the code that makes up computers. So could a virus from a computer get into someone's DNA somehow? Most of you probably think that is impossible, but there was a group at the University of Washington who might prove you wrong. Now, I want to start off by saying you can't get sick from a computer. The virus that got put into human DNA cannot affect people. Don't freak out. But in 2017, this group found out that you could put malware into a strand of DNA. It was a very interesting experiment, and it might have worked because all of our DNA is actually code, and we are actually made up of ones and zeros and nothing's real. Go rob someone. Don't actually do that. And for our number 1 spot, we have the Fibonacci sequence. This is gonna be some math stuff, so if you guys aren't good at math, don't worry, because I suck at math too, and I had to find a dumbed down explanation so I could understand it, and I'm gonna be bringing you an even dumber version right out of my mouth. The Fibonacci sequence is a series of numbers where the totals equal the numbers before added together. So starting with 0, we have 0 plus 1 equals 1, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5, 3 plus 5 equals 8, and so on and so forth, with the sequence looking like 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, and it goes on like that forever. Now, what does this have to do with simulation? Well, this sequence shows up in a lot of math and also a lot of nature. Many plants and other natural forming things have perfect Fibonacci sequences inside of them, almost like they were programmed from a computer. This could just be the most efficient way to make life and sells our living math, or could we all be in an auto-create version of life and that's how the world is built in a computer and it's just like boop, they hit a button and it makes everything.